Hey guys, Dave here, JDH Reptiles, back for part 2 on the scaleless ball pythons. This one we are going to talk about the shed. Everybody's main concern. They don't shed well, or do they shed? How do they shed? It's always the big problem. So we're going to jump right into this video. I'm going to talk to you about a couple animals that we've had issues with shedding, how we remedy it, and what you can do to avoid those things. Let's go ahead and hit the intro and we'll jump right into this video. The next one I'm going to show you is in a bad shed. And I want to show you this because that's the big thing. The shed, the shed, the shed, the shed, the shed. The shed? The shed. It's always about the shed. Okay, so before we jump into her, I'm going to explain the problem with the shed. Humidity is a huge thing with scaleless. Right? We keep our animals on Reptisorb liners. And obviously liners don't necessarily help with humidity. However, and I'm going to show you one if you don't know, this is a Reptisorb liner. This one's pre-cut for the Freedom Breeder FB10 tub. It's an absorbent pad, so if they urinate on it or poop on it, the poop will stick to it. Urine will get soaked up by this. As I've said before, with like the larger females, when they urinate, they'll cover the tub. There's not much to absorb that. So that's why I do daily inspections and clean daily if needed. With the smaller ones, this will be just fine. No problem. They'll just absorb into that. But with that said, that moisture absorbs into there, so it doesn't keep a lot of humidity in the tub. So we use the Reptisorb liners even in our sea serpent hatching rack. That is where this animal was up until about a week ago. I had the last two in this TGR FB10 tub here. The humidity here is phenomenal. They shed every time, no problems ever. The only thing I do is when I see the eyes going opaque, I'll grab my spray bottle. I have a spray bottle. I also have one of those garden misters that I use as well. And I'll pull open the tub. I'll reach into the back half, or actually like the back, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches. And I'll spray that area down on the liner as well as on the tub. Shut the tub, I go to work, I come back that evening, I do it again. I do that for 2 days. On the 3rd morning, typically, I will see the skin, not only the head cap will begin to release, but sometimes the skin will begin to peel back on both the top and the bottom jaw. At that time, I will either, depending on how I feel, I'll either allow them to shed through the day, and I'll check them that evening and help them if necessary, or I'll start right then and there and see if the skin is completely released all over. I will help them shed. And the reason why I've noticed with smaller snakes is the shed will get rolled up. As they begin to roll that up, it turns into like a rubber band, usually a quarter to halfway down the snake, and the shed will get stuck. Okay, so at that time you need to go in there, tear that little ring, and then you can release the snake from the rest of its skin. You can either put it back in there and let it finish, or you can finish it for them. I typically finish it for them. That way no bacteria grows. You know, you get the shed off of them. With these guys, really you just need to adjust the humidity right before they shed if your room isn't a perfect 55 or above in humidity percentage. So in this rack, they do well. They usually shed out on their own. I usually have to break that ring and help peel the rest off. Sometimes they'll get out of it on their own, no problem. But in the sea serpent rack, I didn't have that luck. Okay, shedding was awful. I have the Bell, which I'll show you here in a minute. That one shed really bad in there. And then the lesser, which I'm going to show you right now, also shed really bad. And is currently in a stuck shed, and I'm going to explain the process of this. So let me grab the animal, and we'll explain what I do to help them when they get into a bad shed like this. Okay guys, here is a lesser scaleless, possible gold blush, but I doubt it. But I'm going to show you. You can see the skin here. Look at the belly. Looks pretty gnarly, right? So this is an animal that needs help with shed. Okay, so there's a shed right here. You can pick on that, try and peel that up. But I'm explaining to you why you want to be careful when doing this. Okay, so first of all, this animal, if I threw a rat in there right now, this animal will eat right now, no problem. No questions asked. All these animals eat when in shed without a problem. You can see some of this darkness. This is skin that's irritated. It's actually more dried up, shedded skin that's sitting there. But you can see it's in pieces. And I'm explaining to you why I don't just jump in there and start picking at it. So with this animal, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait another few days. I believe she is about to go into shed again here soon. And what I'm going to do, now that I've moved her into the TGR rack, is I'm going to do that spraying of the back quarter of the tub to increase the humidity. And the idea is to get her to shed again and remove all of this shed at one time. And the reason for this is, if you've ever taken a bath, been at the beach, whatever the case may be, you've spent too much time in the water, and think of your feet. If you get skin that begins to peel on your feet, if you've ever reached down and peeled that skin off, you know the skin, the top layer, it'll just peel off. But when you touch a piece that's attached to and you pull, I'm sure a lot of you right now are squeamish because you're remembering that you can tear your own skin. The same thing happens here, okay? And if you tear the underlining skin, it's gonna blister, or it can blister. And that's where bag balm comes in hand to help coat the animal a little bit and help with healing that skin, that chafed, raw skin. But we don't want to do that. We don't ever want to get to that point where we peel the skin back when it's not ready and cause it to tear. So I'm not going to attempt to peel any of this skin off now. This animal needs to go into shed again, and when the humidity is right and that last layer, or I should say the last dead layer, the shed layer, begins to pop off of the snake, I will then try and help it remove the shed from the head. We'll get the eye caps loose, and then we'll try and remove all of the stuck layers in one shed. Okay? And it actually is quite easy if your humidity is right. This girl in about 2 weeks or less is going to look amazing. The moment she goes in the shed, we get all this off, because we will get all of this off in the next shed. She's going to look absolutely amazing, and she won't go back into that sea serpent tub. She's going to stay in the TGR rack where the humidity is great and where she will shed just perfectly. I want to show you this. This is our Mojave lesser scaleless. So it's a blue-eyed leucistic scaleless. And this animal looked just like the last animal a week ago. And look how clean and clear he is. Even the belly. This is actually, looks like a dried piece of skin that needs to come off that I've missed. But look at the rest of it. The animal is absolutely perfect. And I did the exact same thing with this one, because this was also in that sea serpent rack and had the same bad shed. So I waited, it went into shed again, I increased the humidity, and I was able to remove all the dead layers of skin on top of the one that it was removing itself in one shot. And this animal looks absolutely flawless now. As you see, this boy does have, however, a curled tail. It does stretch out. It's got a little bit of a bump in here. I don't know if this is just deformed from incubation or what. I know it looks very blown out, so white, but we're going to keep an eye on him, see how he grows. I think he'll eventually be a breeder for us, but at this time, you know, I'm just keeping it. I wanted to produce this animal this year, and I did, and I'm super stoked. But as far as the shed, again, perfect after shed, except for this little spot here. I got to pick that off for him. But yeah, that's all it takes. Alright guys, so that is the scaleless gene, scaleless animals. Scaleless head animals, I do have a couple of those. Show you one really quick here. Same sire, different female. This one actually was from a pastel Enchi female. This here is a pastel Enchi gold blush scaleless head. And you can look at the head on this one. Absolutely cool. Wish it would definitely focus in a little better. There we go. Look at that. So the scaleless head animals, still color is usually amped up. This is a pastel Enchi. This thing is super bright. Can do a little bit with the pattern. I mean, just a cool animal. I love this gene. The scaleless head gene is going to be a long-term gene here at JDH Reptiles. I will say, until these become a commodity, and what I mean by that is until there's a market for them, I'm not sure if I'm going to continue to breed and make scaleless animals. Mainly because I enjoy them. I wouldn't mind making a couple for myself. I do have a plan down the road to make pieds, which someone already has, obviously, but I think it looks amazing. I'd love to have a piebald scaleless. I do have a couple others in mind, perhaps, but it's something we're not going to shoot for right now to achieve. I don't want to sit on a bunch of really expensive high dollar animals that I have no future to work with inside of our our collection. If I made a piebald scaleless, obviously it'll be kept for producing more down the road. This blue-eye leucistic, it's gonna be great because I'll be able to pass on scaleless head to every animal, and either lesser or Mojave. And if it happens to be a gold blush, that's an incomplete dominant gene, so it'd be great to pass that on as well. But that's the plan there. So this year we're going to do probably 3 more scaleless head pairings, but I don't think we're going to do any scaleless pairings this year. But back to the video at hand, that's the scaleless gene. That's what you need to look for. Are they more of a, are they harder to work with? In my opinion, no. If you have a great setup, your humidity is on, or you know how to adjust your humidity during sheds, you'll be just fine. Feeding is fine. Otherwise, shedding is fine. The only thing we're waiting on is a female on eggs. I think it'll happen. I just don't know when. I guess that's really the deciding factor here. And I do feel once we get a female on eggs, the market's going to open up. And I think people will want to invest more in them. So as of right now, males are still kind of a hot item, but the price is pretty high for them. They're definitely an investment animal. So if it's something you want to invest in and work the gene, it's definitely an amazing gene. We've seen longevity. I had a couple here last year that we got from a friend of ours. We were shipping or selling them for him because he moved away and left the hobby. I had those girls up to like 900 grams before I sent them out. They grew just fine, growing. Hopefully this year they're on eggs. I mean, that'd be great. It'd be really nice to see them sitting on eggs. But, you know, time will tell. I still think it is a great project to work. I'm excited for the future of it. Definitely the Scaleless head side I'm super stoked about. But if you guys have any questions at any time, please feel free to reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, my email. All that information is going to be down below. I've also dropped the link to Sticker Mule if you want to do breeder stickers, or like the poster board I have over on the wall. They do those things, and that link down below, if I remember correctly, gives you $10 off your first purchase. So go ahead and use that. Log in, set up an account, make an order, and get $10 off. But till next time, guys, I appreciate your love and support. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Watch some of our other videos. Link those out to other people if you find any that are interesting and helpful. And we'll talk to you on the next video.